Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center. And even though the Blade Show has been canceled, our Blade Show Week celebration here continues. Doesn't mean we can't get to still hang out with all of our favorite friends in the knife industry. And today we have the man himself from Spyderco, Mr. Eric Glesser. Eric, thanks for being here, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having me, David. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, can't see each other in Atlanta, but we're making the best of it.
Yep, we get by.
So I know reveal number 5 from Spyderco is out. There's a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of it is still making its way to dealers sometime in the near future. So would love it if you could show us some of those if you've got samples in front of you, because people are champing at the bit over here, man.
Yeah, I think most of the samples I'm going to go over today haven't quite hit the market yet. Some of it's hit the market already, but yeah, I'm excited to go over them.
Awesome. What do you got for us?
All right, the first one I was going to go over is the Spyopera. This is a collaboration with Lion Steel out in Italy. Always excited to work with those guys out in Italy. They make very high quality, beautiful knives. This one to highlight right away is the Micarta Scales, the M390 blade steel. That's going to be some nice materials that they highlight very well. It's got a deep pocket wire clip. If you're looking for a nice lightweight thin carry, a very nice gents folder, this is going to be great with that deep pocket wire clip. It's got a lanyard that comes all the way out to the end. If you do like that lanyard, gives you some more length on the handle, and it's pushed all the way to the end. With the spider hole, it has great one hand open action, and with the mid back lock, it does a nice drop for the one hand close. There is a nice little choil on this for that sharpening. The grind is brought up just below the hole so that you're going to get some nice thin bevels here, but still some strength through that spine. It's got full titanium liners. One of the features I like about Lion Steel is they like to round a lot of their spines. And so this has a rounded spine for the back lock, the back spacer, all the way through the blade. When you're using it, it's going to be nice for the hand. It's going to be good for the pocket for going in and out and not rubbing a lot of sharp edges. Beautiful
That's
piece.
One of those classic, I always call it those classic Italian touches. You see a bunch of those guys over there doing those crown spines and such. So I'm glad you kept that. That's nice.
Yeah, very Italian. One of the things you get with Spyderco is all those different countries of origins and different flavors. And getting to work with the Italians is still a pleasure. Whether they're making suits or motorcycles or sports cars.
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
guys can still build some beautiful stuff.
Well, and I've handled the original, the Lion Steel Opera version, and one thing that appears to be still kept through the photos here is the nice radiusing to the handle scales themselves. They're not flat, so it fit in. I know the original fits in the hand very nicely.
Yeah, it's very hard to see with the camera, but you're right. It has some very nice concave handles and a very nice feel. So it's smooth. It's not going to rub on your skin very much. It's a beautiful piece. It also has the customized screws, if you will, so it gives you a nice little flare rather than just the standard Torx. They have a little bit of extra design in there, and a lot of little nice added touches that you get from the Italians. It's a beautiful piece.
Very nice.
So yeah, always a pleasure working with those guys. I'm excited they'll still do such beautiful knives with us.
Very cool. I like that a lot. What else do we have here?
Next, I was going to get into another one made in Taiwan. This is a collaboration with a Japanese designer. This one is called the Pochi. It's designed to give a little bit more of that puppy or that dog flair. It's made with the very highest of quality materials. It has the titanium scales. It also has a titanium tail that gives you a little bit of extra leverage. The titanium clip, the titanium over travel stop cap for the lanyard. I believe it's S30V, if I remember correctly. Yep, still S30V. It's made to set on the hand and set upright. That's one of the things that's very popular in Japan right now. That way it keeps the edge off the table if you wanted to set the knife down. But it fits the hand well, especially those two fingers or 3 fingers. Get a nice purchase with your thumb. But it's a pleasure to bring this high quality little piece to the market.
And that holding the edge off the counter is kind of similar to the Counter Puppy kitchen knives then you put out recently. And I just realized that's another puppy or a dog influenced name at least.
Yeah, and it's also influenced by a Japanese designer. That was a collaboration with a Japanese designer.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, it's a nice ad that you see in Japan, have been for the last few years. Much like their chopsticks, they put the chopsticks on a little stand to keep the end of the chopsticks off. This is similar to that with the edge.
Sure. Definitely a nice little whimsical piece. Now that tail that's coming off the back, is that just I assume that was just sort of a decorative and whimsical touch, but you mentioned something about added leverage?
It does give you a little bit more for that back finger, at least for something that you can grab or pinch.
Okay.
I prefer to have it there. I think that when you're stuck to two fingers, oftentimes you want to try to get your third in there. But that tail does allow you to kind of get in there a little bit more, give you a little bit more purchase for that finger for some real use.
Interesting. Okay.
You know, it's got to stop too, so that it doesn't hit the edge, and it doesn't come back and hit the edge on the back, so it has some flexibility on it. It's a nice little piece. I like the added touch.
Very cool. It's just a fun little design, and that's the great thing. I like the variety you guys do. You have everything from like the super serious militaries and paras and all that, down to just the little fun designs like this that put a little smile on your face.
We are reliable high performance though, and that
yeah.
has to be what we do. I mean, the lock is a solid lock. The action is good. You know, the materials are top notch. I mean, the edge is the right angles. It's sharp. It's heat treated just right. I mean, in the end, yes, it's a nice, cute little piece, but it is still reliable high performance.
That's the way to do it for sure.
Yep. You want to go on to the next one?
Let's do it.
All right. This one I'm really excited about. This is called the RockJumper. The premise behind this one was to get a lot more edge to the handle, but also make it convenient for one hand close and one hand open. When you're working with a back lock, I have one here. This is the K390 Delica. You'll notice that there's a big dull spot here before the edge. That's because when this edge comes around, it stops on this pin here, which is part of the back lock, and that keeps the edge from hitting the handle. But it also creates a big dull spot in the knife. One way to get around that was a 4-finger choil. So this, you can choke up on the edge and get some real grip. And when this closes, whoa. Feel like it's always something with you on my video. My light's on a timer.
Hey, when you went to close that knife that way, I had flashbacks to the siren from SHOT Show where you nicked yourself a little bit.
Yeah, that's right along those same lines. Is making a back lock that you can close with one hand that doesn't have a big dull spot or doesn't have a 4-finger choil to accommodate that stop is very difficult. There's just not a lot in the market. The siren gets really close, but if you're not paying attention, it can nick you. If you're paying attention, though, you can still close it with one hand. Well, the RockJumper is going to give you a lot more for the closing with one hand. If you're trying to get into a situation where you want to open your knife quickly, securely, and the back lock gives you that. It opens nice and smooth and secure opening. And you want that edge to go all the way back towards the guard. And you still want to be able to conveniently close it with one hand, like the back locks that you're accustomed to without really thinking about it. The RockJumper is going to bring you a lot in that design. Also, with the lightweight scales and the nested liners that are skeletonized, it really brings, all that strength in a lightweight package. And that's one of the names of that's one of the reasons for the name. It's a lightweight package that you can swiftly open and close. You can choke up on what you need to choke up on with a full hand grip and cut what you need to cut. And the Wharncliffe really brings you that cut too, all the way out to the tip. Gives you some nice precision as well. Comes in plain and serrated too if you're looking for a little bit more bite. So yeah, I'm excited for the RockJumper. It's got a big lanyard here at the back as well. A lot of the guys that are using these for ties, if you want to get a carabine on there or something else, it gives you that extremely large lanyard for additional ties. Good hook at the back, nice guard at the front. It's an exciting performance piece. And in Spyderco, you want to see performance.
For sure. What I like about the handle shape there, it kind of reminds me a little bit, anyway, of the Polestar that you guys make.
Yeah, same designer.
Oh,
yeah.
You can tell I did my homework.
My father really worked on this one, and you're right along those same lines. The Polestar is a great evolution as well, especially towards the back with that hook. Trying to get a knife that is of this size, where you get a full handle on, gets to be more and more challenging. I believe the Polestar is probably about the same length, yeah, you're going to see similarities somewhat because of the designer, but you're not going to get probably that same purchase or that same edge length to the guard.
Well, the reason I brought it up, the thing I appreciate about the Polestar, and judging by photos, looks like this knife has as well, is that area right around that forefinger. You've got enough protection there. You've got a bit of a quote-unquote finger guard, but it's nice and gentle, so that knife never felt restrictive to me in the hand.
Yeah, that's very good observations. That's a nice piece. You know, as we've gone on with backlocks, this whole area we pay attention to more and more. And so the Polestar is something that we paid attention to in that design as well. But the Polestar is a liner lock, so that's going to bring you some different aspects.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, I'm glad I could redeem myself a little bit there.
Yeah.
Great. Very cool. Very cool. All right, what's next, sir?
Okay, the next one I have is the Yojumbo. I guess the thing that I'm really excited about with the Yojumbo is what we were able to do in the engineering with the size. You know, designed by Mike Janich, great designer, one of my favorites, particularly in self-defense. He just knows a lot about what he's talking about, decades of experience. But when you get into a knife of this size and this caliber, trying to make it perform like we want to, you have to really make sure you have a lot of strength in it. You know, you put a lot of strength at weight at that tip. If that lock isn't very strong, it's not going to hold up. And so the compression lock on this one, I just really am proud of the engineering department and what they were able to do in the action, the self-close, the ability to unlock the knife, the fact that it's very safe. So if you're using it, there's not a lot of cutout that you're accidentally going to disengage. It's a very safe lock in regards to that. But then the pure strength, the strength of this knife is among the top of all of our compression locks we produced. Going further along, what the proud aspects of the manufacturing is this hollow grind. Making a straight hollow grind that gets thin through here, but still has strength up at the top spine, straight all the way to the edge, proper heat treat, proper performance and the manufacturing of it. They really achieve some great things when it comes to this blade itself and its shape. And so when you get to this knife and its strength, it's gonna perform like you need to. The edge is gonna be absolutely the same for every knife across the board. We have a more aggressive peel ply on this than you're typically accustomed to for the Spydercos. Mm-hmm. That way it's going to grip the hand a little bit more. You'll notice that it fits the fingers very well. So if you are going to grip this both in regular or reverse, Mike has done a fantastic job of working out those ergonomics. And then with your thumb on top, you can really bear down and give this all the strength you want. And you're not going to worry about any lock failure or anything like this. This knife was designed to be able to put your thumb purchase on top or even your finger purchase. And having a strong lock and good ergos for that is well done. With a little swoop here at the top, you know, 4-way clip. Mike has done a wonderful job in the evolution of his Yojimbos and Yojumbo.
Yeah, I know people have been really excited for that one. We have had them in here at one point, but I think they may have all gone towards filling our pre-order, so they were in and out. I've not actually had a chance to hold one in person myself as a result.
Yeah, the action is great. The buzz on it is true. It's something special.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay.
What else we
got?
Want
to get into the next one?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me make sure my light doesn't turn off. Hold on.
Stand by, technical difficulties.
I think my timer was about to go. All right, so we're bringing back some Swicks. We have two different sizes here, It's probably very difficult to tell on camera, but this one has a slightly smaller hole, a little bit different handle. This one's got the larger hole. If you're going to be dropping in your forefinger, which is what this is designed for doing, having a good size for your finger to accommodate it, it is a good factor. You know, it really depends on what size your hand is for what's going to perform best. I guess, you know, I have to mention Fred Perrin on this. Fred Perrin is a knife designer from France. We do some collaborations with him. He's been doing knives for 30 years that I can think of. Great designer. He was the first, though, to really do this four-finger choil with the big hole. He started popularizing that decades ago. You'll see it similar on a karambit, but the hole is at the end where the karambit. With the four-finger choil, or the four-finger hole there, it gives you the ability to still use your hands if you need to, but it's not going to go anywhere. You know, if you are ever in a self-protection type atmosphere, the last thing you want to do is have your knife fall out of your hand or even taken from you. And so by dropping your forefinger in here and really grabbing the knife, it's not going to go anywhere. It's very secure in the hand. It has some Wharncliffe blades, which is going to give you some great slicing ability with that length. They come with a neck sheath that's made from Boltron. Oh, this is the smaller one, I believe. That's going to give you a nice secure lockup, but you're able to grab your finger through the hole and then draw the knife. We also make it with a bead lanyard here so that can break if it needs to. You don't want this to be a strangle device on you. Also, it has a G-clip that can go in various different directions if you did want to go with that fashion of carry. G10 scales. This also comes in LC200N, so it's going to be more corrosive resistant. If you're carrying knives around your chest here, you want them to be a little bit more corrosive resistant. We're not gonna put a tool steel here on your,
for sure,
your chest.
And for those out there who've not tried LC200, not quite as it's extremely, extremely stainless. Not quite, I think, as rust proof as your H1, but I love the edge retention on that steel. I've been carrying a Spidey Chef as part of my EDC rotation for a couple years now, and I really love that stuff.
Yeah, you know, I love LC200N. One of the things about LC200N is there's a lot involved in the processing and the development of it and bringing it to the market so that it performs right, has its own challenges. And the factory has really done a good job at developing that steel for the performance that we're looking for in both edge retention and corrosion resistance. I think that LC200N will be a steel we continue to use for years to come. I think it's got a great place in the market. And we're excited to put it on this USA made knives.
What I like about the angles on this particular design, I think this would be especially important for someone like me who has absolutely zero amount of tactical training, is especially with that angle and that Wharncliffe shape, it should point rather intuitively. You don't have to really think about what you're doing if you need to bring that point to bear on something.
Yeah, you know, I can't agree more. You know, I mean, with the way it was designed, with the way it grips the fingers, with very little expertise, you can get yourself out of a situation. And that's the hope, is that if you are in a situation that you have to defend yourself, and you don't have a lot of skill and ability and aren't trained in that fashion, that you might have something that can help you. And so that's one of the reasons that hole is there, is because it's probably very easy to drop a knife in a scary situation. Things happen very quickly.
Things happen very quickly, and adrenaline does funny things to the body.
It does. It does. But very performance-based. Again, we're proud to bring these to the market.
Very nice. I'm looking forward to those, especially being USA made too. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, the U.S. facility is really doing some good stuff these days. Exciting.
Excellent. All right, what's next?
Next, I have some K390s I was going to quickly talk about. These are coming out of Japan. They come with a very unique blue. With K390, you're going to get a non-tool steel that gets very hard. It's going to get a patina on it. I always like to bring them up because I'm a big K390 fan. The edge retention on these is just tremendous. They're also very tough. You know, you can really cut some difficult things with them. But we're going to be doing these, I think, pretty much across the board in Japan. You're going to be seeing Delicas, Dragonflies, and in time, in future reveals, you'll see other members of the family. You know, the K390 is just a great steel, and we're going to take advantage of using it.
Very nice. And on just a set of classic designs too, where we know them, we love them, and we can really put that steel to use and know what to expect with the knife, so we can really compare that to the other stuff out there.
And one of the things we try to do at Spyderco is put a lot of horsepower in affordable, lightweight package. You know, I know I've made this analogy before, but you put a Ferrari engine into a Kia, if you will, or a small car. You know, to get K390 and then put it all into titanium and carbon fiber and make it a $300 or $400 knife doesn't let the average, you know, Affy get to try out this great stuff. And so whether it's Maximet or K390 or some of the great steels we're known for that are really super steels, we give you the package in an affordable, performance-based, so everybody gets to try it.
And that's the thing. The fancy knives are great, but oftentimes the people that can afford them aren't the people that need the performance of those steels. It's the people who might be harder for them to get their hands on that who could really take advantage of it.
Yeah, you know, our company was built on the working man, the soldier, the person that grabs our knives and they go out and they use them. You know, buying knives online, which is most of the shopping these days is online, you can trust in buying a Spyderco that it's going to perform for you. That lock, that edge, that steel, that handle, you know, through the millions of knives we've delivered over the decades, we've built that reputation that you can rely on this tool for whatever you need it to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
Okay.
Next up.
I was going to go through some sprints.
Excellent.
This is the Chief carbon fiber. This is going to come in S90V, and this is the Lil Native in carbon fiber, also coming in S90V. The Chief doesn't have the same peel ply that you're going to typically get from the carbon fibers that you're used to on Spyderco. I think that some people will like it for the feel and the carry in the pocket, but it does bring a little bit of a unique carbon fiber to the table. It's got a large palette, if you will, so there's a lot showing. And it's a nice pattern for the carbon fiber. We think it is going to be a good execution. This is a linerless knife too, where the inserts are pressed into the carbon fiber. So you're going to get a fairly lightweight package in a solid thickness and a solid length with a very reliable backlock. And it's going to be very high performance with carbon fiber and S90V. They're some of the best performing materials in the market today, and it brings it all together in a great US package. The edge really reaches out there to a nice crisp tip, you know, sharpening and manufacturing and creating these bevels and these edges, especially in the heat treats and polishes that we're achieving, is difficult. And so we're excited to bring that edge. It really reaches out. You have that forefinger choil to pick up on, choke up on it. It's got great jimping for the back and the forefinger choil, so it grips you back. It's a nice piece. I'm excited again for this carbon fiber Chief. And then to go to the smaller package, this one comes with the compression lock, very similar to the Chief. And I know most people know this, but they all originated basically from this Native. The Native has been a bread and butter knife for ours for over 20 years. The Chief is a bit of a larger version. And then you have the Lil Native, but they're all based on that humpless design where you have that smooth top. But with the Lil Native, you're going to get a compression lock, which brings everything I was talking about earlier, very secure in the hand, unlikely to unlock, good self-close, great action, strong lock. This also has the forefinger choil and then a deep pocket wire clip, so it tucks away in the pocket nicely. It measures right out at 2.5 inches, which in a lot of areas, 2.5 inches is the law. So the Lil Native is going to be a perfect length and performance piece if you're looking for a high strength, high performance knife in a little package. Same with the Dragonfly, both 2.5 inches, both a lot of power. But this has the carbon fiber S90V. And then as the last print I was going to show, this is a Micarta Z-Wear Shaman. If you look closely, this one says S30V on it, but it is going to come in Z-Wear. Z-Wear is a very similar chemistry to Crewwear. It has a tiny little bit of differences, and you might notice something is in the performance, but I very much doubt it. But the chemistries are very similar. We made a Crewwear Micarta Shaman that was very popular, and we had some upset customers, if you will, that they didn't have the opportunity to get one. And if you know Spyderco, we usually produce things and we never bring them back, at least in their original form. That's one of the reasons, excuse me, the collectors like us. So in this one, we're going to bring back the knife as a sprint run in Z-Wear and Micarta, so it gives you the feel of the original if you weren't on the original purchase. But for all those guys that missed it, this will feel very much like the original in the pocket.
And mixed up the color a little bit. That one did, if I'm remembering correctly, that first Crewwear one, was that a burlap micarta on that, or?
I remember it as a brown canvas.
Okay, I apologize.
I roll through these things in my head a lot. I think this is brown canvas. That's brown canvas. Burlap is another micarta. It's pretty stuff, but I don't like to give too much away.
Understood. Well, then let's stick to what's on the table then. What do we have next?
I guess the last knife I was going to highlight today was a Byrd. Birds are something we've been developing now for a couple decades. They're a Chinese manufactured product. Many of these factories we've been working with since the beginning. This one, like you get with a lot of your Spyderco stainless knives, you get that smooth finish on the stainless. You don't see this very much in the market anymore. Back in the early days, I think the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you used to see stainless knives a lot more common, and they were all riveted together. It's a very hard manufacturing technique. In a lot of ways, a lot of people think it's a little archaic, and in time, I don't know where that manufacturing technique will go. But essentially what they do is they take a knife like this and they put pins all the way through it, and then they hammer away, and usually it's somebody that is very skilled with their ability of hammering, and they hammer these rivets just right to give it the proper action. And then once the knife is all hammered and riveted together, they go back and they refinish the knife so that you have all those smooth sanded finishes. If you're doing embellishing like engravings or adding things to your knives, these stainless knives are beautiful for that because you can add something right onto the surface and you're not dealing with the screw heads and other things. If you're looking for just pure performance, throw it in the pocket, it hits the ground, you pick it back up and it keeps working. A stainless backlock is tough to beat. They have a little bit more weight to them, but they are a lot of horsepower as far as strength. You can really go to town with a stainless backlock without worrying about it falling apart. And so through the years, the Chinese have gotten better and better, at least the factory we work with, at making these stainless knives. So this is a stainless Harrier that comes like you're accustomed to, with all those smooth pins, great action, one hand open, one hand closed, four-way clip, a lot of the things you're accustomed to with Spyderco, with its full flat grind, four-finger choil, in a stainless made-to-work package. And so if you're looking for the dollars you spend for what you receive and what you're going to get out of it, a stainless Harrier is going to bring a lot to the package, a lot to the table for that.
For sure. And like you said, it's got all the hallmarks of classic Spyderco design with the ambidextrous nature, the choil, all that stuff you just mentioned. So you're not really giving it much of anything up by going to that lower price point.
That's they're getting better and better. And with the HCR 13 MOV and the way they're able to process it, we're getting a lot out of the steel as well. A lot of people probably know this, but Spyderco started its roots with all stainless knives. We were making knives before we made lightweight knives. Lightweight knives were something later on in our history. And so if you look at the CO1 through the CO8, which I think is the Mariner, CO9 is the co-pilot, but all those original knives were all stainless. And we still build stainless knives to this day. And so, you know, it really shows that after decades, it still performs. It still does what the customer wants. And we're going to still continue to develop these stainless knives.
Very nice. Very nice.
So that's all I had that I was planning on showing, but I can dive into anything else you like. I know you have a police model that I just love.
Yeah, this is the one knife I have on my table that you don't at the moment. Our new KnifeCenter Exclusive Pakkawood and HAP 40 laminate blade police 4s.
Yeah, I want to talk about it. Oh, wait, hold on. All right. The police model, I just want to say, is the longest running design we have. It's the CO7. We've been producing the CO7, as you know, our numbers, they're all C numbers as far as our SKUs. And the more the numbers go up, that's their lineage, if you will. So the police model was the 7th knife that we designed. The original was called the Pig. That was for pride, integrity, and guts. So the first 1,000 police models we ever produced wrote Pig on the blade. After that, it became the police model. So it's still one of the great running designs to this day. It's had a few evolutions, which is what this one is. It's the Police 4.
Right, the Police 4, which there was the K390 version originally, I believe. Nowadays, the only other Police 4, I think, that's on the market available for sale new right now is the Lightweight. And apart from that, KnifeCenter Exclusive right here.
Yeah, and that comes with a laminated HAP 40. And so it's going to give you that great laminate line. And if you're into HAP 40, it's going to give you a great patina right along that edge. The HAP 40 in the police model, too, is almost like a kitchen knife because of its length and its width. Its cutting power is tremendous. That HAP 40 combined with those dimensions, it's a pure cutter. And then with that Pakkawood, it just brings beauty.
Yeah, there's a little bit of tweaking to the actual edge profile itself over the older police models, which I think does make it a little more conducive to some of those slicing motions. You got a little bit more of a sweep. And I love the way that this is eventually going to patina, the way that looks against that Pakkawood. I mean, we've seen some pictures of folks with the other knives in our line with this configuration that have a little bit of color there, and it looks so good with that Pakkawood.
Yeah, these days knives look better with use. A lot of knives do anyways.
For sure.
If you have a lot of scratches on your black clip, people take it with pride and they want their black clip back because their black scratch clip, because it shows how much use they've had. But yeah, Pakkawood, HAP 40, some of these materials bring a lot of beauty to the knife through use.
Yeah. Well, it's like you never want to be that guy walking the Appalachian Trail with a brand new pair of boots on.
Yep, shows you haven't been anywhere yet.
But then the other thing that really sets the Police 4 over the top is that finger choil.
Yeah, with the original police model, they wanted a lot of strength at that tip. They wanted to be able to grab the knife, or the people that carry the police model, and have that edge go all the way back to the guard. But that was designed in the 80s. Nowadays a lot of people are looking more for slicing power and being able to choke up on the edge for more intricate cutting. And so the police model with the more length, it has a little bit more length in the Police 4, and that new edge geometry, like you said, with the new bevels and forefinger choil, it brings a lot of modern flair to what you're looking for in today's cut over the original police model.
For sure. And with the addition of that choil, for me, if I were reaching for a larger Spyderco, I'd reach right past the Endura now and go for this.
Yeah, it's a nice piece. A lot of people like big knives still. When 20, 30 years ago, a knife that big was more normal. People carried bigger knives. And as time has gone on, littler and littler knives have become popular. But there are a lot of people that still like that larger knife. You can reach out and cut what you need to cut. You don't have to really worry about anything on the performance base because you got everything you need. Not that little knives don't, but bigger knives do give you some further reach.
And when they're balanced as well as this particular design is, they don't feel unwieldy at all.
Yeah, that's one of my father's designs. I'm so proud of all the knives he designs, whether it's the RockJumper, the Endura and Delicas, or the Police Model series. I'm proud of what he does. I believe he's one of the best out there.
Fantastic. All right, Eric, I've got one final question for you. I'm going to put you on the spot here. For someone out there who may have never tried a Spyderco knife before, first of all, what are they thinking? But second of all, what would you say to those people? Why should they be checking out a Spyderco now?
Wow, that's a great question. One of the things I think about with a Spyderco and that question is when people look at it, it doesn't look like a knife that they're accustomed to using for a newbie. With the big hump and the round hole, a lot of people think it looks ghastly or ugly. The original Spydercos were all designed in the dark and very much are still, where, as I've said many times over, we're a performance-based company. And we're looking for that performance over the look. And a lot of people that are shopping online, you're looking at little tiny images on a screen and you're trying to judge based on that. The one thing you're going to get with Spyderco is that when you do buy it, it's going to perform like you expect a knife to perform. That initial cut out of the box, we want that thing when you cut with it for the first time. It should give you a feeling that you don't get from most other knives. And then after use of carrying it for hours and different tasks, you're going to find that they have so much more to add that you didn't see before. And then before you know it, oftentimes the thing looks beautiful. It was ugly when you started, but after using it, you appreciate all the little nuances that Spyderco brings to the table. And so, for the newbie, usually if you get bit by the spider, it catches your attention and you oftentimes look towards another one because when you carry a knife every day, not all tasks are the same. If you're going for a hike one day or going to a business meeting or you're going to work in the kitchen, this is a tool that has a lot of different tasks. And Spyderco, because of the countries of origin that we build our products, because of the materials, because of the variety, and the years of experience, whether you're working in the kitchen, you're looking for a keychain knife, you're looking for something inexpensive or something to blow your friends away with its high quality, Spyderco is going to offer everything. I believe we have as much variety or more variety than just about everybody on the market. We work with some of the greatest designers that have ever lived and walked on the planet, and we're still continuing to work with some of the greatest designers. And so, I feel like I could talk about this all day. Spyderco brings a lot to the table.
Well, there's your answer, folks. Eric, thanks so much, man. For those of you watching, make sure to let us know what you thought of all these knives down in the comments, and we'll leave links in the description below that'll take you over to KnifeCenter.com where you can see all of Spyderco's latest and pre-order most of the things that you saw on this video right here. Thanks for sticking around for our Blade Show Week coverage. Stick around, we've got a lot more coming. Eric, thank you so much for being a part of this, my friend.
Thanks, David. I always enjoy hanging out with you.
Hopefully we'll get to hang out together in person very soon.
Right on.
All right.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you later.